Wow. Look at that. Hi, I am Chetna and I am sharing a recipe for a delicious pear upside down cake from my kitchen here in Kent. The cake is very lightly flavored with almond and it has got a zest of a couple of oranges to bring the freshness to the cake, and the pears will sit in this lovely caramel sauce. And I just want to quickly mention that this recipe is actually from my very first book 5 years ago, and it's called The Cardamom Trail, and it's very, very close to my heart. And this pear and cardamom upside down cake is from this book. So going to start with the caramel sauce, and for that I've got some unsalted butter and also got some brown sugar, soft brown sugar. And first thing, I'm going to cook this. And this caramel is going to be flavored with a lovely aromatic sweet cardamom. So I've got 1 teaspoon of ground cardamom just added to it. And this doesn't take very long. All we are looking to do here is just dissolve the sugar, melt the butter, and get a quick caramel. Just pour the hot liquid in here and very quickly spread it all over the tin, because you don't want it to set in one place. You want like yeah, it's already setting now. So you just want a nice thin layer as evenly as possible. And that is good enough. So I'm using 4 kind of medium-sized pears, and I'm just going to first peel them and then cut them in half. So I do try and use slightly firmer pears, because if they are too soft and like ready to eat, great for eating, but for the cake it's nice that if you can get slightly firmer pears. And all I'm going to do is cut it in half and just scoop out the middle bit. Don't want that. And that's it. I'm going to do the same with all the pears. The caramel is in the tin and I've got the pears ready, and I'm just going to place them cut side down. So just the narrow bit. Now the caramel has set. Ouch, never touch hot caramel, never touch hot caramel. As you can, as best you can place the pears. Oops. I will have 1 spare left, 1/2. So that is set, and this little fella that's left I can snack on. The cake batter is super simple. Everything goes in the mixer. So I've got some unsalted softened butter. I like cakes that just have all-in-one method, because they are my favorite, because you know, simple, easy and lovely to eat. So in goes the butter, then the caster sugar, then the self-raising flour that already has a bit of baking powder in it, and also some ground almonds. Now this is going to make it, it's going to give it the almond flavor, but also it keeps the cake a bit moist for longer. And then 4 large eggs. And like I mentioned in the beginning, I'm going to add some zest of 2 oranges. This will just add lovely freshness to the cake. The last thing to go in is some baking powder, and then I'm going to whisk this for a couple of minutes because that's quite important to get a nice airy cake. You can see that it starts with a really yellow batter, and in a couple of minutes the color of this batter will change. So it's been 2 minutes and you can see that the color of the batter and the texture has changed. It's become paler and fluffier and definitely smoother. And that's it, the cake batter is done and it's ready, and it goes very carefully on top of the pears because you don't want to disturb them and move them. And I've got the oven at 180°C and I'm going to bake this for 50 to 55 minutes and then check with the skewer. So when I spread this, just make sure that it goes all the way in between the pears as well. And then just spread even the top. It already smells so lovely. I can't wait for this to be baked. Look at that, the caramel is trying to ooze out from the sides. Now the thing is to let it sit for 5-10 minutes before I try and take it out. So I'm just going to leave it alone for 10 minutes. Once you've given it 10 minutes of rest, then don't let it set completely because then it'll be a bit difficult to get the caramel base out. So that's why we use the spring form tin, so it's easier to kind of get it out. Right, just a plate on top. There we go. Now it's a moment of truth. Right. I always get stuck at this because I'm looking to get that paper out. Wow, look at that! That little pool of caramel is my favorite bit. It smells absolutely amazing, very inviting. The kitchen smells great. The kitchen smells great. That's because I'm hungry and I really want a slice. It's really piping hot. I would suggest that you leave it to rest for at least 10 minutes. If you have the patience, otherwise dig straight in. If you're serving this warm, then dollop some ice cream on top. If you're serving this cold, then you can drizzle some cream when you serve this. Oh, look at the smoke coming out, and that sponge is going to be super light and fluffy. That sponge looks amazing, and you can see little flecks of orange zest in there. The orange is really subtle, and so is the almond. And the cake, I've added less sugar in the sponge because of the caramel on top, so it's really not extremely sweet. It's just a lovely balance. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you try this cardamom pear upside down cake, and I will see you guys very soon.